As you know, following the allegations of violations committed in the context of the conflict in Tigray since November 2020, the UN Human Rights Office and the Ethiopian Human Rights Commission agreed, within the framework of both of our mandate, to conduct a joint investigation on the violation committed ever since. The OHCHR global mandate requires to monitor and then investigate the violation of human rights, international humanitarian and refugee law in all their forms. The initiative to enter in the joint investigation with the Commission, National Human Rights Commission, is, of course, a practice that has been applied by OHCHR in other contexts. The Tigray situation was unique and presented a more complex scenario. What we achieved in that partnership is therefore simply groundbreaking, sterling, and very innovative. And then, as Daniel indicated, it is now in the domain of practice or jurisprudence that should emulate relationship between international entities and national partners to ensure practical transmission of knowledge and know-how, capacity enhancement, and national ownership on critical processes. I am further and then extremely pleased with the recognition by the National Human Rights Commission on how much they've benefited from this process, and with our own happiness to have been in a learning journey as well. Our two organizations agreed on the joint terms of reference on a method of work which initially was based on OHCHR internationally accepted methodology used in our global engagement. And on this basis, we embarked on this important investigation, which concluded with the release of the joint report. Throughout the process, some of the stakeholders present here in this room provided support. I wish to thank you all for all forms of support provided to enable the investigation to be successfully concluded. As it will be explained to you during the substantive session of this workshop, the investigation was complex and faced multiple challenges, making it difficult to cover all the locations and deliver a product as exhaustive as earlier envisaged. Nevertheless, our team devised creative ways to make the best of the field's time against the challenges and issue the most balanced, authentic, and comprehensive report ever since the conflict started. The findings of the report that you are to discuss today rely primarily on first-hand testimony from victims and witnesses. The investigation unearthed the serious violations of human rights and international humanitarian and refugee law committed by all parties to the conflict. However, the report does not purport to be an exhaustive record of all relevant incidents that occur during this period, but fairly illustrate the main type and overall pattern of violation and abuse over a period in question. The joint report has made various recommendations to the government of Ethiopia and to various parties and actors, which will be examined during this consultation and subsequent support for implementation. I call again, it's a reiteration of what we have already said. I call again on all those with responsibility here and elsewhere of implementation, of supporting implementation of the recommendation, to play their part to ensure effective implementation, and it is only then that the joint report and all the work that has gone into it will make more meaning to the people of Ethiopia. But beyond the substantive aspect of our undertaking, let me offer some reflections on the significance of today's meeting, the necessity to support. When in full compliance with international legal framework and standard, home remedies are given primacy to address and bring about accountability. When states express willingness, political intent, and capability to assume their primary responsibility for human rights protection, we can only be receptive and unequivocally committed to support, despite any doubt, any suspicion that may exist. Today, this gathering, we are celebrating a political will by the government to deliver justice to victims. However, our resolve should remain resolute to support and go beyond the celebration and send a powerful message to all that the truth will always prevail, justice will always be delivered sooner or later, and that the search for it will never falter despite challenges. On behalf of OHCHR, I feel proud of where we are today and the journey we have traveled. I also continue to feel the urgency of fair, timely justice message communicated to us by victims, which we shall not suffer any compromise and then to become a double jeopardy for those who have already experienced the horror of life. I'm talking about the voice of a survivor of all kinds of sexual violence, the plight of witnesses and victims of extrajudicial killing, torture, shelling, all type of violation that we are trying today to find a prospect in existing criminal procedure tool to address. Hearing and remembering those voices can only compel all of us to do more and to commit more to support the government of Ethiopia in pursuing justice. There are days like this that we feel empowered despite our limitations, simply because our role remains simply to accompany nationally owned processes. So, when collection of information is translated into concrete criminal accountability steps, as we are observing, human rights advocacy becomes meaningful. Mindful of the challenge ahead and aware of the absolute reality that a simple will and wish of justice is not yet justice, we stand more than ready to provide what we believe is the needed support today. In this spirit, it is in this spirit that once again, I wish to thank the government of Ethiopia for the express commitment to implement the recommendation of the report and the step already taken, including the establishment of the interministerial task force and the development of implementation strategy and action plan to realize and achieve accountability. I call on all partners to warmly and strongly support this initiative. Finally, as the UN Office for Human Rights in Ethiopia and in the region, we remain committed to support the implementation of this recommendation, working with our partners, particularly the National Human Rights Commission, in order to deliver our mandate and in our promise to the Ethiopian people. We will also, in that context, mobilize and coordinate with our UN partners on all the support to the government and in other key actors with responsibility of implementing the outcome of this report.